around?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm
So
here.
did you guys print off Chelsea?
I printed it off just because I knew,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure which one she was referring to.
Roddy, stick it around?
Keith, you're tired.
For a little bit.
Okay.
I texted Courtney, I was like, I see a lot of your dad lately. Cracks me up. Like, he's retired, he has all the
I
time.
used to
All,
participate
All right,
a lot.
thank you, Lonnie. You're welcome. All right, come meeting to order.
yeah,
They changed everything,
yeah.
so now they changed it back, so.
Now you're like, here I am.
Call the meeting to order.
I approve, I move.
Meeting minutes, I know you responded to my email.
I think I did,
Would
didn't
you
I?
like to make a motion to approve the meeting?
I make
the
a
minutes
motion.
from June 11th?
Am I the one that's making the email, is that what you have in there? Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I will second that.
There's Mike.
Mike?
Mike.
Well, you're just in time. You're up next on the agenda.
No, I didn't know I was done.
Get it together.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm fine starting at 5,
Okay.
but
It seems as if we don't have too much. Street sidewalk.
Thing will go out for, you see the points now, too, and that. Okay.
What is it? What is this one? Perfect. Thank you. You guys are moving right along. Goodness, it seems like every time I come down Main Street, you guys are on a different block.
We're going back and forth now.
No.
There'll be a lot of back and forth. Stormwater project right out the window.
Mm-hmm.
46 days in the contract. They've got about 1,100 feet in of the big pipe, which is pretty good. There's 6,100 feet total in the project, so.
in phases 2 and 3?
What's that?
Phases 2 and 3, or does that include the
That's
first?
2
part?
and 3.
2 and 3, okay.
Everything's going relatively smooth, no worries. The schedule for next week's been along a lot of people's minds. They're gonna work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're gonna basically come up, there's a manhole that goes in this intersection, but we're not gonna tackle it until after the 4th because it's a difficult intersection. There's live stormwater there, sewer, and water to deal with. So they're gonna come up to here, stop. We're gonna jump down to 13th on Monday, Tuesday, and continue with some water line lowering down there. Clean up on Wednesday. They're gonna condense all their equipment into the block between 11th and 10th, close that street off
Uh-huh.
from the 3rd through Monday when they come back. They're not gonna work Thursday or Friday.
And neither is the city.
I'm working Friday, I don't know.
Mine said that.
No, you're-
Their floating holiday is on
Oh.
Friday, so.
Well, that's-
Looky there.
I have a feeling I'll be working.
Oh.
My phone will be ringing. Thursday probably. We're gonna have a meeting on July 3rd, on Wednesday with DOT to discuss trying to get the storm drains on Broadway tied into this project. Pretty anxious to hear how that's gonna go. DOT's pretty notorious for saying, not ours. So, and it's expensive. It'll be a big ticket item. So,
How, is that gonna be like on which blocks? Is that where it goes
it
across
would be
10th?
on 9th, 10th, 12th, and 13th is where we have storm drains that drain Broadway and then come east and go into our sewer main in the alley. We're gonna hopefully go up each one of those streets and grab those, intercept them before they get to the sewer.
Okay, so is it gonna be all on the east side of Broadway that you're gonna be doing that? Not the west
No,
side?
not the west. It'll be
You're safe.
9th, 10th,
You're
12th,
No,
and
I'm like-
13th on the east side, or
Alright.
probably digging just from flat to the alley.
Okay, yeah, just with all the events in July, and,
Yeah, and
it can be
that,
tough.
my guess is that's gonna be, it's gonna be a real bugger we're trying to lay it out where we do a round of paving in the beginning of August, because we hope to be completely off flat
Mhm.
and moving west. So the same pavers that they're using are the ones that were awarded the bid for the FEMA paving project.
Mhm.
So we're trying to kind of put them all together, but then just given how slow this whole DOT thing's occurring, coming and hooking these back up is gonna be after the paving. My guess is it may be next year.
Hmm.
We'll see, they may, I don't know, we'll find
Surprise
out,
you.
we find out Wednesday.
But probably not during the month of July.
No, month of July will be on flat.
On flat.
That would be good.
Because they came down flat, lowering water lines. They got almost to the end. Hopefully, next week we'll finish up lowering water lines. They jumped back to the beginning, started laying the pipe, and then they'll go back and put all the little inlets in. So there's gonna be 3 times they go up and down the street. Wastewater, we're still having problems with the screen out there. We are waiting on some parts to, modify it, hopefully make it better. It's pretty upsetting because it's brand new in October and it's still not working right. On Saturday, June 15th, we had a pump fail at the lift station, and that was kind of a big thing. Luckily, we had a pump in reserve. We pulled it out and got it in there before things got backed up. The defective pump is now in Wallace, Idaho. They're tearing it down, should have tore it down today, and they're gonna give us a quote to get it repaired and hopefully get it back to us as soon as possible. Because Sunday, we had another one of those pumps go down at that same lift station, but we were able to, fix it.
How many pumps are there then?
There's 2,
Oh,
so.
That was my.
So if one goes down, we get a little nervous, because,
okay.
we can run on one, you only need one, but if
Backup.
if one's broke, you don't have a backup.
No.
One of them, the second one went away, then, thanks.
Not much happening with water, we haven't had any, I don't think we've had any leaks since the last report, been pretty quiet. I think I kind of discussed trying to roll those 2 projects into one last time, and then kind of leveraging our money to go from a 50% forgiveness loan to a 75%.
Mhm.
We're still working on that. Same thing with streets, we haven't got to your alley yet. But we're just chipping away. I checked on the EDA grant, it's still the same, sometime in July we'll know. We've made some progress on the kind of proposed project to work on the trip hazards on Broadway between 10th and 14th.
And that is a separate agenda item, on this today, so,
Yeah.
Oh, up here, okay.
yeah, if you wanna wait on that one, you can.
And pool's doing good, we've had a few hiccups and some personnel issues, mainly, some software issues, but we've driven by there a boatload this winter.
Yeah.
I know.
I got my
What's
pass.
the capacity for it?
I was
You
wondering,
can't go 8 when there's just the
just
old
the
ladies there.
brave in the cold still.
Not cold.
Parks, last time I was here, we had a pump down at Lions Park, we
Mhm.
got that fixed.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure everybody heard the Arbor Day thing went good.
Yeah.
Seems like it went off really good, other than we had to replace a pump in a lift station
While you were doing trees?
But, we still have 6 spruce trees we need to get in the ground this week. I didn't wanna do those because they're big and I didn't wanna have equipment running with a bunch of kids and volunteers. We're gonna hopefully finish up the planting and get the final report and budget in by the 30th. I did get those applications in for the solar panels at, recycling center and, well, actually, they're not submitted yet. When you guys sign claims tonight, they'll be submitted tomorrow, because you have to pay $200 application fee for each one.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, like, but, yeah, we signed those this morning, so,
Cool. One page.
awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for that update. Thanks for keeping the city rolling.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're rolling.
And, I have walked up your trail improvement several times.
Did it get packed
at
down?
McGillen. It's getting there, it's not, you know, it's still
Nick
pretty
said
loose.
they were gonna pack it, and I haven't been back up there since. 'Cause
Yeah.
I can't put a roller on it, it's too steep.
Yeah, it's pretty steep, but it is nicer than the asphalt for sure,
I'm good.
and wider, and so, I like it.
Let's try it.
May I have your name?
Yeah, it's Mary Dell.
Mary Dell, okay.
With the sustainability bill.
Okay, thank you. I knew I knew you, but.
Yeah,
And
it's
is
been a
it
while.
Marydelle,
Mm-hmm.
capital D?
Gun, G-U-N-N. Thank you.
I'm just gonna add you on here.
Okay.
Next thing on the agenda is the Safe Schools program. That got tossed to us, but I don't know anything about it.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
So I'm assuming, and I, the only reason I remember talking about it was from Health and Safety, when I was on Health and Safety last year. But,
We talked about it at the, council meeting too.
okay, so was this the same sidewalk issue that we've been
Mm-hmm.
The
saying?
Street sidewalk?
Mm-hmm, that there is no Fifth Street sidewalk.
There is no Fifth Street, and so
And
they,
there's no curbs and gutters, there's just a road, and so,
no, Fifth Street is the same one that runs, it's the same one that runs on the other side of the
right,
Doug Brown?
yes,
Okay. So the-
no,
No,
it's up by the football field. Fifth Street.
Fifth
Yes,
Street, this one.
Is it Kilbane's, is that
Yeah.
Kilbane Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay,
So it goes
Colleen.
to the south end of the football field?
Yes, the
Right.
Palisades field.
There's no sidewalk on Fifth Street, and kids walk on that street going to school all the
Yep.
time. And so there's a possibility through the safe,
Schools.
yeah, that you could get funding
Cool.
to put curbs, gutters, sidewalks on that street,
On that section, all the way up
all the way up.
through, like, because right now, are there sidewalks right next to First Interstate?
Right next to First Interstate, yes, but, and
And they
to
stop at-
Napa, but then there's
And then
none,
to Napa, and then from Napa
there's none.
down to the school,
Yeah,
there's nothing,
there's nothing.
It'll be Napa to the football field.
Right.
basically, yeah.
Yep, and hopefully you'd be able to do sidewalks and, you know, and then with that would be probably curbs and gutters and
Mhm.
the whole bit, so people can park and you basically would be taking back the city right away and making sidewalks there, so it's safe for the kids to walk. And there'd be parking available then on the side street.
Also, so then on the Fifth Street, but what about Second Street? Is there anything,
You could do that then too, you could actually tackle both, because there's sidewalks on
Second
the
Street?
north side where like those little condo things are.
Mm-hmm,
There's a sidewalk there, but I don't think there is on the other side,
no, well, no, and what we
on
noticed,
the south side of that.
we noticed the other day, two things about Second Street was, one, people, I think there's the vacation rentals in there with a lot of those. I don't know if they just don't want to turn down the alleyway or what the deal is, but they will park right there.
Mhm.
And during, like, school dismissals with buses and kids coming in and out of there, it's sketchy.
Right.
And also there's a tree covering the stop sign.
Yeah, I saw that.
As a parent of a daughter who just finished driver's ed and is working on getting her hours,
And which intersection is that?
Second and,
Hagen? Hagen?
Hagen.
Hagen.
Yeah, Second and Hagen, yeah.
Yeah, that was on the list.
because I watched a little,
So I think it would just be a matter of going out and, you know, checking out those sidewalks with the
Okay.
kids, you know, because there's a lot of kids that would walk from the mobile home park, or whatever it's called now. And they'd walk across there, and there's a lot of kids that walk.
well,
to
there's a
school
lot of kids, I mean,
That walk.
not only that, like during
Or-
lunch, they'll walk down to Town Pump
Right, exactly,
and
yeah.
Zip Trip, and it
Yeah.
is,
Isn't that a different street though?
That's Second.
There's Second Street and then there's Fifth
So
Street.
Second Street is on one side of the high
Yeah.
school, and then Fifth Street is on the other side,
Are
so
we talking about
Both.
doing both? Okay.
both, if we could.
It would be nice though, I mean, like I say, the city has the right of way there
Mhm.
to put that in.
And where would we get information on the Safe Schools program? Is it just online?
I think online, I'm trying to think, I tried to make a phone call
Cost,
earlier.
Yeah, so what that'll be,
Yeah, and, if you put together a cost, yes, find out what the match is, and then we could budget resort tax for for the match.
Especially, like, I'm not only thinking school, but like with Coal Miner Park right there, and then the two major gas stations, Subway, it is all technically within a walking distance, and it makes it very challenging, especially during the winters or baseball during the summer.
And who would keep it cleared?
It would be
It would be
city,
the city.
it would be city's responsibility.
Well, unless it's a private homeowner that lives there, then it's a private homeowner. I mean, the property owner is technically
Right,
supposed to keep the sidewalk clear.
right.
Safe Schools program, this is bringing me to some software.
But there's some of it there that is, community parks, like going by coal miners there. I don't remember how far that sidewalk is.
Is that a Montana,
Yeah.
Montana State Fund, Safe Schools?
I went into one and it took me to
Would
something
be
in
a
Whitefish, I
grant.
think, when I looked.
It should be a grant program.
Probably national, but
Yeah.
maybe state by state.
But it's like for walking and it's for sidewalk program, sidewalk for
Sidewalk safety.
School.
Safe Kids,
citywide
I got-
safe routes to school upgrade. Like here, Billings Public Works got a $3.56 million grant for a citywide safe routes to school upgrade.
Wow.
And what
So-
is that?
Safe
What's-
Routes.
What's the website?
It's Safe Routes, I got saferoutesinfo.org,
Yep.
National Center for Safe Routes to School. Safe Routes to School program aimed to make it safer
Montana,
for students
yeah.
to walk and bike to school.
Montana Department of Transportation manages the Safe Routes to School program in response to a 2005 federal legislation.
Billy's got how much?
$3.56 million grant, so.
Yeah.
That was sidewalk connections at Rex Lane and Lolo Lane.
And then this one shows me Federal Highway Administration's for Safe Routes to School.
Yeah, and that's what MDOT would get the money from, probably, federal.
And then, here's where
So it's coordinated through MDOT?
it is. It looks like transportation.gov. And then what is the FDOT Safe Route for School grant? Oh, look at this. It says, I don't know where this one is. This is not in, I think it says Bay Area, so it must be
Yeah,
California, but
and
it's like,
Kalispell
million
got
each
2
year.
million, so it's definitely out there.
you have to, again, grant writer.
I'll put together I'll talk to Chad and I can get it started and then have him throw some numbers at it. We can
Mhm.
come up with a ballpark guess. That'll give us kind of an idea of what we're after.
Will he also look at what it takes to apply for that?
Well, probably, yeah. I'm gonna meet with those guys on Monday or Tuesday, so.
Okay.
2 copies? Okay.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd love to get some sidewalks on next week. I try to run over pedestrians all the time.
That would be great.
God.
It's really hard too, especially on Fifth Street, 'cause depending on the time of day, there's a giant glare
Uh-huh.
section, like you can't,
Oh, yeah.
you can't see
In the
anything.
morning, the
And then, like,
sun,
yep, and then the way the
Yeah.
trees overhang right there on that block, it's like, oh, no one's there.
Yeah, you don't know, so you can't see. That's fundraising.
fair.
In the afternoon, it's 19th, going to 19th, the sun's just right there.
Yeah, so,
Next on the agenda is the recycling center, options for glass.
yeah.
And, I don't know if you had the time to read Chelsea's email, but she did contact the Livingston Recycling Center and asked them about it, but it,
No, I did.
He did.
Oh, you did?
It said Mike reached
Okay.
out to Livingston.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's things, right,
it didn't sound like a really good option for us,
No.
based on what they
no, I don't think it's,
said.
Um,
But in the meantime, we did talk about the budget at the admin and finance meeting, and we're actually looking pretty good with the budget, and so,
no, for that, I was just trying to get an idea with that of what the costs are, so that we make sure we're budgeted good, but I think we're sitting, I think the total budget is like 109 for recycling, can't remember.
it was,
Last time I looked, I felt like we were gonna squeak by for,
yeah, we took in an extra 8,000 in, the fees, and we didn't have as many costs, and we also didn't spend,
well, we haven't quite got all the bills yet.
yeah.
Are we still talking about the recycling center?
There's
Yeah.
a big lag in recycling, and I probably need to try for them a little better. Like,
Well, she
our
says here that
problem
you
is
put
a
it,
lot of the vendors they're like hippies, they just kind of,
a little crunchy.
they're like, oh yeah, we'll get you a bill.
Is there anything that we can help crack the whip with? I just sent you the.
Well, I gotta get ahold of that Cordis guy, 'cause I think we owe him for like 2 years of hauling.
Yeah,
And I
copied
did
you on that.
talk to him, and I told him, give us a bill, and.
He's
Yeah,
not
but we-
super concerned about it, but at the
Yeah,
same
but
time,
it's
we don't
gotta
wanna
get
have,
paid. I
yeah.
mean,
I know, but
we don't
That's
wanna.
something I've
we
been,
didn't own it 2 years ago.
Well, from 23, in 20,
when we first took over.
part of 23, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
last, it's been a year that
He
we've
hasn't
had it.
been paid since the city took over.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that's
Okay.
not good.
We owe him $2,500. I added you to this spreadsheet. So he puts in, when he takes stuff, he puts in the amount that he takes, and usually takes 10 bales at a time. And it's at $50 a bale, so it's usually $500 increments, so,
Okay.
I don't know when he was paid in 2023.
I don't think he was.
I believe he was,
Oh,
though.
really?
Yeah, I think that and I can check with Gina, or the former treasurer, and
Yeah.
I had, that was,
He might have got paid right at the end,
yeah,
fair tooth or whatever it's called.
yeah, I think he
Okay.
did, the Red Lodge Recycling.
And I don't know where we're at on, I haven't seen anything on glass yet. I'm expecting we'll get a big bill on glass. Hopefully it'll come after, in the next budget, but.
So one of the things that we did put into the, I don't know if it's the ordinance or the resolution, but we've got to do a review, an annual review. And, since I put together the initial budget, when we took it over, I am happy to do that.
Sure.
And just do like budget versus actual and where we are. We talked this morning about, the possibility of lowering the amount, but I don't know if that might be premature, based on what you're saying.
I would
Hold
look
on.
at it,
Yeah.
I would look at it really hard and make sure we make some phone calls and find out what's outstanding out there.
Yeah,
I think when I kind of looked at, what an average year cost, that's what that little chart was.
mhm,
Then you put the wages in there and then all the overhead stuff and what have you. It seems like to me, it's comfortable at, I think it was 109. But I wouldn't trim anything off of that.
yeah.
I mean, 'cause then you're upside down, and then you're going back and saying,
Don't
change your
worry,
mind.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
Just kidding.
and, we had talked when we first set this up too, the prior public works director would like to have a little bit of a cushion in there if something breaks or goes
Oh,
down,
yeah.
maintenance,
You gotta have
and,
a cushion.
Once you get a new baler.
Budget
Yeah.
it right to the wire.
Didn't,
yeah, you don't want it to be,
So we talked about, doing that first week of, the first meeting in July, is that too
Too
early, do you think?
Well, I don't
Should we
think so.
push that out for another?
I think we just try to meet, kind of, you'll go over it, in July, and then with the knowledge that we'll probably walk away from there with a list of stuff we need to chase down, and then come back and get it
And then
done.
Consolidate and
Okay.
figure everything out.
We also talked about, inviting, Kyle and Ann to the next meeting, to see if they had anything to add
Mhm.
to. Yeah, they always ask me questions when I go there. Next thing on the agenda, anything else on recycling that anybody wants to?
No, I was just reading this about glass, but
We're,
it didn't.
I don't know, probably, I think it got communicated in Chelsea's thing, but they were talking about sustainability board, recycling stuff, and when I spoke with Ryan from Republic, he's expressed
Oh, yeah,
interest in
yeah.
the program through Republic, and so he's gonna come July 15th, at the 4:00 meeting, and
Is that at
we get to
the?
pick his brain a little bit.
Is that
Brian
the
with Republic?
sustainability meeting? Okay, I think we had said July 1st, but July 15th, okay.
Yeah, that's our
I think-
normal thing.
At 4:00, right?
Yeah, and I think it just got wrong somewhere, it's on the first.
Okay.
At 4 PM on the
I'd like to come
15th,
to that,
Four
too.
PM.
on July 15th?
Yeah, and it's just a good opportunity
Might be in both.
to have Ryan with him, and he
Pick his
seems like a
brain.
pretty good
Yeah,
guy, and
to see what he has
ask
to offer.
questions,
Absolutely.
whatever, so.
And that's about the possibility of curbside recycling, or just
Yep.
recycling in general?
Yep,
Curb
Okay.
Side.
would be,
Anything else?
not for recycling.
Okay. Next on the agenda here, I promised, potential
Sidewalk.
sidewalk assessment of business owners on Broadway.
Yeah, I don't know what, I've been working on a proposal for the mayor to fix, a lot of trip hazards that are, the majority of them, I mean, they're everywhere.
Mhm.
But the starting point would be 10th, 14th, both sides of the street. And we went through there and inventoried them and kind of looked at different strategies for not replacing the sidewalks, because that's really not, that's just too big of an elephant to eat,
Mhm.
especially given the construction season, the business season.
No.
So we came up with a proposal that would include lifting the sidewalks like we did we did a little test from Blue Sweet Teas. It worked, made it better, but, and then it would come, after that would come, grinding off little edges that are left. And I put together kind of what it would cost. There's a couple different scenarios of how it would work. And, as far as funding it, what I propose, and I guess I didn't really see it as an assessment officially, was a lot of the vertical offset joints are associated with when we did the water project in 2012. So I feel comfortable pulling some money out of water reserves for that. I think roughly if we do the grinding ourselves and purchase a grinder, we're looking at about $80,000 to go. It's in front of 63 businesses that we work on the sidewalks. So I just kind of threw it for rough numbers, like 30,000 on the water, 30,000 on the streets, and 20 that I was hoping we could just get. And it comes out to be roughly like $300 a business. And I was hoping to just have buy-in there.
Mhm.
Honestly, like volunteer. I'd like to see the businesses quick get together and say, hey, this is good, this protects us all. It's cheaper than 1 hour with a lawyer, when
Mhm.
somebody trips. And not make it,
City needs to
a
take it.
tax,
Yeah.
something that has to get voted on and argued about, and whatever. And I think it's good buy-in for the businesses. I think it helps justify the city, because jumping in and doing sidewalks where that's that guy's sidewalk over there, you know what I mean, in the residence.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
that's kind of where that's at. I got one quote from a guy to do the lifting. He's a guy that we tried out. I just, in the course of trying to research grinders and people to come grind, I talked to some people at Belgrade, and they were really anxious to come look at it and give us a price per wet feet too, so they're gonna come down July 9th, and we get a price from them. And I really I'm leaning towards the idea of the city purchasing the grinder. We'll have probably at least 30 grand into the grinder and to get it properly set up.
Hmm.
But it will give us the ability to, you know, we'll have that down the road, because the trip hazards don't stop between 10th and 14th.
No. Residential.
We go left or right, or
Mhm.
they're up and down, they're there. So it gives us ability to, you know, complete a chunk and then maybe look down the road at improving some other stretches.
Cool.
It's important to know that this is not new sidewalks. This is the old sidewalks with some lipstick on them that are safer.
Mhm.
So we did identify areas where it does need replacement, and according to our agreement with MDOT and their professionals that get on things, but if it's over 6 feet, and it needs replacement, they're supposed to do it. When we did that inventory, I identified, I think, 6 or 7, I should have brought with me, 6 or 7 areas that needed replacement. 5 of them were over 6 feet, so I would hopefully, if we're doing all this work, maybe I can guilt them into stepping up and actually doing something, and we'll get those replaced. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
All right. Huh.
And one of the things that Chelsea said was that, well, and if you want to speak up too, but, there's going to be some pushback from
Mhm.
businesses, on that $300 charge.
I would be, if the pushback to fix them, or to
The
ask for
fee.
$300.
That $300.
Well,
So, spoken to
I
local.
don't know, I mean, I guess I'd look for any input on, and right now, this kind of a proposal, and it's totally editable, and it can get edited right into the garbage can too. But, you know, if we get, you know, if it looks like something's gonna happen, and we have people that just say, you know,
Mhm.
screw off, what do we do with those? Do we go around
Well,
them?
that's just it. And I think we talked about this at the resort tax, committee meeting, and honestly, the committee feels that the $20,000 that you would need for the contribution from the businesses could be paid through the resort tax or, for the sidewalks, because they're downtown sidewalks that are used by residents and tourists alike.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's part of our tourism infrastructure that can be paid out of resort tax. So,
But what about and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but what about, you know, the sidewalks outside of 10th and 14th? You know, like, then,
What's that?
I said, what about the sidewalks
Outside of
10th
10th
and
and 14th.
14th, and then what do we do there?
Well, I'd say that, you know, like I said, that they're not as bad, and hopefully we'd be able to keep working.
yeah,
If we
You
have
know,
the
we can-
grinder, yes.
yeah. And I think
I don't know where you draw the line at.
Right, the
You can
master
draw
line.
it further. I think-
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
basically all
I
of
think
Broadway
it's the
is
most important
tourism
thing to do is
infrastructure.
Mhm.
do something.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it was the fact that the mayor said that a lot of this was caused by a water project. So, you know, it's not just wear and tear that's happening, you know. You might be able to get some more buy-in from a business owner if it was wear and tear, but if it was a project that caused
But
most
it's
of it.
both, it's not
Right.
just all water.
But, yeah, so I guess it's always been like, who's responsible for the sidewalk kind of thing, for replacing them, for sure. It's good to know that when they need to be replaced, that it is actually MDOT and not the business.
But they won't.
They won't replace it.
No. They're the professionals. I talked to them about the street signs today.
Mm-hmm.
Finally got through to them on Broadway.
You left off the N and the S?
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh,
You
We're
can
not
do that?
paying for it.
Oh, well, that was convenient.
You know, and on the side, on the crosswalks, the mayor had an idea. He was talking about that when the DOT people were here, that, you know, a lot of communities like this have bump outs so the pedestrians can
Yeah,
get
we,
out.
Right,
we were
yeah.
discussing that earlier.
See 'em, and he said that out loud, and everybody cringed, including, you know, anybody who moves snow, including
Right.
me.
Mhm.
Because it's, well, you can see what happens, those little triangles.
Yeah,
Tear 'em
yeah.
up. And he had a good idea. He's like, well, what if, when we paint the sidewalk, or the crosswalks, we just paint it solid like a bump out?
Mm-hmm.
And then people would walk out on that like a bump out.
Yeah.
Good idea. So I asked them about doing that when they paint that.
Mhm.
They said,
Yeah, you can do
yeah,
that.
if you.
Yeah, you can
if
do that. Go.
apply for encroachment permit, you guys can paint those. I said, but you guys are still painting the crosswalks, right? Yeah, we'll paint the crosswalks. Then we're gonna come in and paint part of the, we're gonna do half and we're gonna do half. It's just,
They're doing the middle part.
they're comical. They never give an inch. So
Wow.
don't, I mean, and in Shoto, they've been after the DOT. I moved there in 2000. And DOT was gonna fix the sidewalks in Shoto.
The wing.
You know how many sidewalks they fixed in Shoto in 24 years? 0. So, it's gonna come down to the city or the business owner that does it.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That's it.
Well, in this project, I just know there's some business owners that will not cough up $300. And I just think to make it consistent, I mean, we want it to be nice, we want them all fixed in that area. I personally, as a council member and being on resort tax, I think that it's a good use of resort tax money to pay that $20,000 for the, you know, the business owners are the ones that are collecting
Yeah, but
the tax and
with no buy-in, what do you say to these people down here?
their sidewalks weren't damaged by a water project, you know, I mean,
Not all those were up there.
but the majority of them were. I mean, it caused the,
Actually, over on Platte,
mhm.
there's some sidewalk damage from a water.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we have tons of sidewalk damage. from
Oh,
water
yeah,
projects.
there's like where the sidewalk goes like this because there's a big
Water
tree
reserve
underneath
on
of it.
sidewalks if we wanted to.
Do we have it in the budget to have the resort tax cover? That's,
But we could, I mean, resort tax, the budget is happening right now.
all right.
Well,
Okay.
what budget would you
Yeah,
put it
well,
in?
that's what I was wondering.
Streets, yeah, streets and sidewalks, yeah, streets.
So then does that pull from another street or
It would be a
sidewalk?
line item, no, you just have to budget it, I mean,
I think
Yeah,
most
priority.
people on the resort tax committee were favorable,
Were they?
on that.
I mean, they're talking about taking $500,000 out of this year's resort tax budget and paying down the pool. I think we could afford to pay $20,000 for sidewalks downtown.
Noted, okay.
So, that's just my personal opinion.
Wrong.
Sorry.
Got you, I got you, you're good.
And,
My proposal is totally edible. So-
Yeah.
I
Okay, perfect.
just wanna see
I
something done.
appreciate all the work, and
You know,
every
that's
business
my
owner
opinion.
downtown absolutely agrees with you. It's just there's always some downtown that will not participate.
It'll just
They
be one or
absolutely
two
won't
random
do it.
outlier.
And trying to figure out how to basically penalize them, I guess, if they don't.
Yeah.
There's always a group that's gonna just ride on the coattails of everybody.
Everybody else.
They don't
Like
join the
Leslie would pay
chambers, they
$300
don't, yeah.
For it, that's how you get the holdouts. And that's their lifestyle, that's how they go through life.
Unfortunately.
And so how do you force them? That's the question.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Chelsea's notes, she said, has anyone spoken to local businesses? I recommend we seek out some sort of feedback from the Red Lodge Business Alliance. They don't meet until the second Monday
Second Monday, yeah.
of July. So, I do attend those meetings, and I'm happy to summarize.
Yeah.
I think
No,
I have,
I'll
I think I have
put
most of the notes.
Yeah.
I
I
have you, so-
have it typed up, I'll get you a copy.
Over the
Okay.
people.
So we did get feedback from Tom at the resort tax meeting.
So if someone does trip in front of your business and hurt themselves, what happens then?
Well-
Business owner gets sued.
Yeah, you have,
Everybody gets sued.
yeah.
Everybody gets sued.
everybody gets, it depends on how badly they're hurt.
Right.
Typically, your property insurance policy will have a $5,000 or $10,000 med pay
Mhm.
coverage on it, included as part of your liability. That's a no-fault coverage. And, you know, whether or not that pays for the injury before they sue you, and it
My
goes
last
into your
written
liability.
policy was $30-some thousand with
Yeah.
the settlement.
Yeah. So, it just depends on how badly they
Right.
get hurt.
Oh,
And
go
the
to the
other
fall.
thing too is, just even going out and doing this,
Yeah.
you're proving that we're making an attempt, we're just not totally negligent, we're not just like,
Yeah, see you later.
so,
Yeah.
there's that benefit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, anything else on, sidewalks?
Nope.
Nope.
Next up is the Northwest Energy Grant for solar panels powering the chargers at the art school.
All right.
And
Alan's here.
Alan's here, and I just have a little, this is what he put together, if y'all could share that one.
Sure.
And then, for you.
Yourself, Alan.
So Alan's gonna be the, what do you call that, the expert?
Expert witness.
But, you know, so the Sustainability Board has become aware that, you know, we can apply for a couple of more Northwestern Energy grants for solar. And the idea is for a ground array, both at where the EV chargers are, at the library, Arts Guild, and then on around into Lions Park. So they would be, you know, ground mount, so not on, any building. And, it would offset, the electrical, it would pay for the chargers, you know, maybe not right away, but over time. And then any donations that people do put in the box would help with that. But then, I guess there's some, you know, electricity, obviously, when the, hockey rink is in business and they have the lights. And so, you know, they're not that expensive, considering, what it could have been. And, I will let Alan, answer any questions, but, you know, he's just lined it out here, what the savings would be. It's in the, energy conservation plan to have the chargers, you know, paid for, and not be, you know, coming out of the city's budget, that electricity cost. And so, I think that would be a great one. You know, you have the EV charger and you have the solar panels that are providing the power for that. And I think that sends a positive message, to anybody who's using those chargers. And, so we were just, wanting to bring that to your attention, and, you know, if the council thought that was something that we wanted to move forward with. Mike is, obviously the one who would, make it all happen, eventually, but Alan is willing to write the proposal for Northwestern, for the grants, and, you know, with any input, from the city.
I got a couple questions.
Mhm.
Okay, Alan, can you hear?
So is the project costs include the stands for them?
Yeah, Yeah, Sundance Solar has not been out to evaluate and give a formal bid, but based on my research, it adds about 20% ballpark to the cost. So compared to roof mount, so that's the figure that I included in estimating the cost for it.
Is there any way we could get enough panels on the bathrooms to do the car charger?
Agreed.
Um,
That was
Yeah.
my,
Versus the car,
I
ground mount.
don't think that's a good look in the car.
I don't either. They're kind of an eyesore, but if we can get them mounted on the bathrooms right there,
Great question. So, Northwestern Energy is really particular about the specific account that solar panels behind the meter, so to speak, are attached to. And despite their close proximity, those public restrooms only consume, I think it's about 2,700 kilowatt hours per year. So that's like a third or so of what the EV chargers consume. But because the EV chargers and the restrooms are on different accounts, we couldn't put panels on the restrooms to have that offset the EV chargers. As a separate issue, we definitely could apply to put panels on the roof of the public restrooms, but that would be a smaller fish to fry, so to speak, in terms of the electricity savings for the city.
Alan,
But could we just, is there a way we can just say, we
Put it on
want
the
to get
same
rid of a meter and run both off the same meter?
It's a great question. I have no idea. I imagine that would involve some complicated electrical work and metering and permits and stuff.
But it's-
Wouldn't be that
but it's
complicated.
feasible.
Run a cable from
city,
the
right?
meter over.
they're both,
Yeah.
well, that's what I don't understand. I'm like, they're both the city. So
But they're
why,
different
no, you
but different accounts, why can't we?
just have to make sure the circuit, the meter could
Well,
handle, I'm like, it
Yeah,
should be fine.
you could we could put our own meter in
Yeah.
between,
So you
I'd
just
like
pick up a
I'd like
meter.
to see it happen, because I really, and I think that it's something that the city needs to, I'm not sure, but I feel like right now that electric bill's getting paid out of the lights.
Mhm.
It seems weird.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that needs straightened out, but getting it to where it pays, if we don't have an electric bill there,
That'd be great.
is that's a good place to
Right.
get to. If we could get the panels on the roof, that'd be good.
Who owns the art skills?
Air skills.
I know, I didn't know if that was a private or if like,
Yeah, it's not
It's a,
city,
it's
right?
a not-for-profit,
okay.
probably.
And I guess, what would be for the EV charger, what would be the match or whatever, the 10%?
It's on there.
Yeah, great question. So historically, and in fact, in very recent history, Northwest Energy has paid for 90% of the cost. And so that obviously is a big dent in the total cost. And then after that, the 10% out of pocket that the city would pay, it would be eligible for 30% direct pay federal credit through the IRA, possibly 40%, but some of those rules haven't been clarified by the IRS. But anyway, so now we're down to 7% of the total project cost. That's a pretty good discount. And then, I know that the Sustainability Board doesn't necessarily have an annual budget, but if it were to be $1,000, that would make it drop that 7% of the cost down even further. And another thing about I don't know, I guess we all have different aesthetics. I kind of like the look of the ground mount solar panels, but it would tie in pretty well. I don't know if you guys know, there's like little educational display signage there by the EV chargers saying what an EV charger is and how it's how you could be making a difference in terms of global carbon balance, et cetera. Well, it crossed my mind that it would be a nice place to put a second educational sign describing the role of the solar panels and how you're driving on sunlight. And I would probably also make an application to Northwestern Energy for a grant be more favorably viewed by them if it says that these solar panels were paid for by a generous grant from Northwestern Energy.
If you did that, would we be able to put it on the roof then?
Yeah.
Right, combine it, yeah.
Well, that could definitely be the restrooms roof mount. It would definitely be another project for the future.
mean, how do we combine those two accounts? I mean, who
I
does
can look
that?
into that and see if we can do that. I mean,
Yeah, so that we can,
Essentially, how it works, we just did solar at my house. And you're getting a credit on that meter,
Mhm.
yeah,
and so it's not applied to anything else. So
Yeah, it
you
goes
only get
just
credit
to that
on the
meter.
meter,
Mhm.
so you'd have to combine the meter. I got a question, the Roosevelt Center just put in what I would call decorative
mm-hmm.
solar panels.
Oh, they did, yeah.
I
Decorative.
mean, well, they're
They're
up
like
above the
they-
ground and.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was like
They look
flowers.
They
So-
look like flowers.
Could they become, if you did something like that, could they
That
be
said, yeah,
shade structures
Yeah.
for
You know?
picnic tables?
Oh.
that would be more appropriate in a park, I think.
Like a shade structure, I could see, like, yeah, with a picnic table underneath, and it's
Multi-purpose.
like multi-purpose, not just a giant solar I find them hideous, I'm not gonna lie. I
What do
think
you-
they're absolute eyesore.
What do you think about that, Alan?
Sure, taking that into account, you know, another idea would be a pergola type of thing, maybe covering, extending out to the parking lot, covering the cars. That would be another thing where it'd be functional, giving shade and also happens to generate electricity to save, the city money. I could look more into that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They
When-
have a little
when are
car
these-
stall, they pull in and the roof's all solar.
Right? When are these due, Alan?
November 1st, so we have a little bit of time.
November
Okay.
1st, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you for getting ahead of this on
Heads
this.
up time on this one, yeah.
Giving us a few
Yeah.
months.
Again, my only thing, it sounds like there'd be like $3,000 out of pocket on it. I struggle with what budget we pull that up.
Right,
That's
Right.
Water, sewer, streets, parks, pool, recycling center.
mhm.
How do you justify a UV thing?
Uh-huh.
Right.
So what
I mean,
is-
not UV, a
what is the
EV
budget?
thing.
For the, EV chargers, what does that come on, which budget?
It comes out of lights, which
Is that part of
feels
the street?
sketchy to me, no. No, it's streetlights,
Streetlights?
yeah,
How does that work?
I don't know.
Well, you
I
know,
mean,
County.
Put an extra line item in that light?
I mean, you can pull money out of resort tax, pay for these things, but it's gotta go into a budget,
Right,
and it has to be auditable.
Right, right.
It has, and,
Can it be?
I
you know,
mean, they're
can't- I
located at a
can't
park.
spend sewer money on water.
Mhm.
it's located at the park, public restrooms, it's all part of that, you know, I would think. And if you can combine
Well, it
that
comes
meter,
out of
then it would
park.
all be the park,
If, yeah, if
the
you could,
park.
it almost sounds like,
Right now, it's not coming out of park.
It should, yeah, the restrooms, the lighting in the restroom, because it's part of the park, should be paid out of park, not out of lights. But
I feel like that's, like, that gray area, like, making it all on one meter would make it a little more,
Mhm.
I don't know, for an
I
accountant.
gotta meet with Northwest
understand.
Energy about the sewer plant, and right, coming up here the second week in July, about the meter out there for our solar panels. Now, I'll ask them about,
Combining that
Combining.
account.
I may not even ask them, I may just say
Say, we're
for
gonna do it.
no apparent reason that I wanna combine this, or.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, before we even throw in the solar panel, let's just,
So then, if we combine the account, then we would just have,
It'll give us the ability to put panels on that building.
right,
But
and
I
we
think
just have the
I think it's
one,
worthwhile to look at a little car shed you pull into and the roof's solar. Might
yeah, a
be kinda cool.
carport, that'd be functional too.
mhm.
And
so we would
about the,
need,
about the
still-
finances, if 93%, if 90% is getting paid for, by Northwest Energy and we got a 30%, direct pay credit, back of the envelope math shows a payback period of a year, which is something to consider, not only it would be the savings, down the line on an ongoing basis.
but we'd still need the array on the bathrooms, and we'd still
No,
need,
if we build a little shed for the car, we put it right on that, and
Mhm.
it goes right into the meter.
How many panels do you need to offset the energy?
Right.
It looks like there's,
I don't know, how many, Alan, do you know?
About 20 ballpark.
So you're not gonna get 20 on the back end.
20 of them.
So, but if we were to do like carport, we could do bathroom and carport.
and that would power the chargers and the lights up, lines?
yeah, if you were able to get it on one meter.
Right,
So first step, 1 meter, second
Right.
step, then address being able to pull it together. Does
Right,
that make sense?
yes.
The lights for Lions Park are on yet a third meter, so that's.
Of course.
Yeah. But we could, you know, cover the public restrooms with a few solar panels on its roof, and then a carport for the EV chargers, and cover its usage right there. And we're talking about, you know, $2,000 of out-of-pocket pay, which is saving $2,000 per year on an ongoing basis. So I hope people can continue to consider this, and I can get back with you know, further iterations of this idea. Could I say something on a different topic really quickly?
On another meter?
What's that?
Throw it on another meter.
There's-
Go ahead.
No, well, it would be a different meter, but I discovered a potential source for zero match grants from the Montana DEQ to do a feasibility study for municipal microgrids. I would love to pursue that and see what kind of solutions they would come up with. What I'm talking about would be a feasibility study to evaluate microgrids, for example, at the wastewater treatment plant and possibly the Waterworks Road pump station. And if I could come up with a solution where the Montana DEQ would pay for such a feasibility study, is that something, I guess I'm talking to Mike here, that you would be interested in if we could get it?
I was like, oh.
I'm interested in, if you could email me kind of what you know about it, and I'd like to look it over, but yeah, if we can get a feasibility study done for nothing,
Sure, absolutely, thanks.
I've got way through that.
Oh, council meeting.
Yeah, we're.
All right, Alan, thank you.
Thanks, Al.
We've been told we need to wrap up, so thanks for your input. If you have
Alan, are you in town yet? Or are you
No.
still out?
No, my wife and kids are, and I'm down here working for another 8 days, darn it.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if Flo was up or not, so I was gonna reach out, but, okay.
July 5th, I'll be there for sure. Before then, actually.
All right.
We need to talk about combining meters and, yeah.
Mike's gonna ask them, he's gonna read them. So, if there was one last thing on the agenda, it was a question for sustainability board update, but I think we had 3 thorough ones last time, and this is
Yeah.
really just nice, I'm feeling.
I feel pretty confident.
Yeah.
I don't
That's okay.
have anything.
Questions rolling.
I'm on both boards, but,
Okay,
Great.
thanks for coming.
except One Tree and Rotary is,
Like it's fall, One Tree Rotary's falling?
it's like it's fall, it's red, orange, and.
Oh, is it like a tree of pollen?
So hopefully
It
it'll
thinks
come back.
Like to shed its leaves, leaves, I guess, yeah.
I know, it's beautiful.
Mike,
but-
could you-
What time of year is it? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.